Welcome back to another episode of the Wirex Podcast. Today, we're diving into a hot debate that's shaping the future of crypto and blockchain. Which global hub is leading the race? To help us break it all down, we're joined by Irina Heaver, managing partner at NeosLegal, a top expert in crypto law, Web3 regulation, and cross-border business strategies. Welcome, Irina.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
It's amazing. Thank you for being here. Why don't we start with a little bit on your background, how you got here to where you are today and what it's like to be the first crypto lawyer in the UAE.
That is, thank you for this question. Yes, so I launched my law firm here in the UAE in 2016 with a mission to support Bitcoin and crypto entrepreneurs. And if you're old enough to remember, literally up until 5 minutes ago, anybody who's working in the Bitcoin and crypto space were considered all sorts of bad things, right? Money launderers, criminals. Like you can just imagine a really bad label. We were considered that. But I was completely convinced. I was completely convinced that Bitcoin and crypto will really help humanity to move to the next level of development. Money is technology, and the technology that fiat, that's a bad technology. And if you upgrade your technology to Bitcoin as money, then there's quite a huge potential to transfer money cross border without limitations, to support the causes you like and believe in, and also make this world more fair, more transparent, and a better place for all of us.
That's amazing. And, I'd love to ask, right, like each of these regions, the UAE, Singapore, and Switzerland, has made a name for itself in crypto. So if you had to pick just one as the current capital of crypto innovation, which would it be and why?
That's a great question because as a Bitcoin and crypto entrepreneurs, they're global citizens, right? They don't tie themselves to a particular place or to a particular jurisdiction. They go and pursue opportunities out there. I've been based in the UAE for 18 years, 1-8. And of course, I'm very biased. UAE is my second home, and I've made a life for myself out here. Of course, I would say that UAE is the number one crypto capital, and all the founders out there building cutting edge innovation technology solutions, they should consider UAE as their home base. Why? First of all, we have great regulatory regime that is certain. We have 5 virtual asset regulators that you can sit down and discuss your business models with. We have a very low tax regime, so it's 0 for individuals and 9% for companies. But of course, there is a lot of deductions that you can avail to make sure that your tax base is as minimized as possible. We also have a lot of government programs and government incubators, accelerators, programs supporting entrepreneurs in general and cutting edge entrepreneurs in particular. We have unprecedented connectivity to the rest of the world. It takes 6 hours to get anywhere in Europe, anywhere in Asia, anywhere in Africa, right? So you have an access to 2 billion customer base out of here, UAE. Also, we have this fantastic economic free zones where you can set up a business literally within a number of days, get UAE residency permit, start hiring people, start renting a place, send your kids to school. And don't forget, UAE is one of the safest countries in the world, if not the safest. I mean, as a woman, I walk around on the street at 3 a.m. Not that I do, but if I wanted to, I would have absolutely no fear or concern for my safe. Can you do that somewhere in Berlin? Can you do that somewhere in Paris? Can you do that anywhere else in the world? Probably you shouldn't be doing that. You should be more concerned for your well-being in other big multi-million sort of population cities. But Dubai, Abu Dhabi is incredibly safe. You can leave your wallet on a busy pedestrian street, come back 2 hours later, it will still be there, literally. Otherwise, somebody will call the police and will return it to a police officer to make sure that they find you and return that to you. It is an amazing, fantastic place. And also, we have a huge, amazing community here in the UAE of VCs, of exchanges, and largest exchanges like Bybit and Binance made UAE their headquarters, made UAE their home for a reason, right? Not because they just, bought into a hype, but there is a reason. And we have a leadership that supports entrepreneurship. So, of course, I'm slightly biased towards the UAE, but we must not ignore other large hubs, like Switzerland, for example. Around 10 years ago, Swiss Crypto Valley has started with with the Ethereum Foundation setting up in Zug. And then many other foundations followed, Cardano, Tezos, just think about like older sort of 2017 types of project launches. They most of them are set up in Switzerland, and also for a great reason. It's a neutral country. It's in the middle of Europe. Swiss franc is a very strong currency. It is one of the safest. I think it's the safest European country to be in at the moment. And also there is a certainty as to taxes, there's a certainty as to the laws. Government is not flip-flopping on the entrepreneurs, passing laws that are not beneficial to them. So Switzerland is a fantastic hub. But in my experience, and we do a lot of work in the Swiss Crypto Valley, Switzerland is fantastic if you're looking to launch a bank or launch an institutional type of offering. Switzerland can be a fantastic jurisdiction for you. And then, of course, let's not forget Singapore, the gateway to Asia, right? The gateway to China, the gateway to the rest of the Asia, which is a billion plus population. And Singapore government has done a great job as well in building up the economy and making Singapore a fantastic hub for entrepreneurs. However, I don't believe, despite all the positivity around Singapore, and I love Singapore, used to work in Singapore, despite all the positivity around Singapore, I don't think Singapore is a very, I don't think Singapore regulators are very welcoming towards retail solutions, like crypto retail solutions. Yes, there are custodians, yes, there are exchanges, but they're mainly targeting professional investors or institutional investors. I don't think that the Singaporean regulator is willing at this stage to open the floodgate for retail to access those offerings. Is this bad or is it good? Are they trying to protect retail? Fantastic. Protecting retail is good, but I also believe that individuals should have their own sovereignty, right? Like you should be able to think for yourself, do I want this or do I not want this? And I wouldn't want anybody to nanny me and tell me what I can and cannot do. But then, of course, I'm not the regulator. It is easy for me to criticize. But yes, UAE, Singapore, and Switzerland are fantastic crypto hubs, depending on the type of service you're looking to offer, depending on the type of lifestyle you're looking to pursue, and depending on the type of regulator you want to work with. So if you're building in the crypto space, these are, in my mind, the three hubs for you to consider and pick the one which is right for you specifically.
Wow, I really love that. I love that in-depth analysis that you just gave us there. Thank you so much for that. What is the biggest misconception people have about the crypto scene in each of these jurisdictions?
I think that the misconceptions normally come from not understanding the region, right? And not understanding the culture. In Switzerland, there's a particular culture and particular way of doing business. In the UAE and of course in Singapore. So before you start understanding the crypto scene or understanding the regulator, I think it is highly advisable to spend time in that particular country, in that particular jurisdiction, networking with regulators, with fellow entrepreneurs, with venture capitalists, in order to understand the culture. Because believe me, you might have the most amazing product, but if you offend with your behavior, And if you don't try to fit in within the culture, right? Because you're thinking, look at me, I'm so big, I'm so important, I'm the one who's calling shots here. That is not the right approach. You need to come in humble, come in into the community, and network, make friends, make great connections. So I think irrespective of where you are in the world, accepting the understanding the culture, fitting in within the culture, and then being very respectful towards the place, towards the country. I think that is number one advice I could give to any crypto founder out there.
Yeah, I love that. Being respectful is such a huge thing, right? And you have to be respectful of the host country in that sense. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're a guest. You're coming in into a host country as a guest. So behave as a guest. Be polite. Don't litter. Don't be rude, and try your best. Don't ask what this country can do for you. Don't ask what this regulator can do for you. Ask your first question, right? Like, ask what you can do for the community, what you can do for this country. Because this way, the more you give, the more the government gives you back. That's what I found out in my personal experience.
I love that. And if you were launching a new crypto startup today, right, and wanted the least regulatory headaches, where would you go?
I would not be starting a crypto startup today if I don't want headaches. That is the opposite of starting a startup and the headaches. I have a first-hand, like first skin experience. I launched second cryptocurrency exchange here in the Middle East. So the first one was BitOasis, and they were retail focused, and us were the second, and we were professional traders focus. So we did not have buy sell option as BitOasis. We had professional trading tools, which were quite common in the US at the time already, but we just didn't have them in the Middle East. And they were very common in Forex. So we basically took the Forex engine there. And 3 years, I worked on that startup for 3 years before I exited just before the pandemic. And you know what? That was the hardest time I've ever experienced as a human, right? You have to build a team, you have to raise funds, you have to ensure that you pay the salaries on time. We had a team of 30 plus developers, so that was just super incredibly intensive experience. And you know what? I would not want to do that again. I take my hat off in front of every entrepreneur out there building their company, building their product. That is incredibly hard. Forget about the legal and the regulatory headaches. I think this would be like the smallest because we solve those headaches quite quickly. But the headaches are in overall running the business. I mean, you need so much grit and you need so much character in order to persevere. And I take my head off in front of every entrepreneur. But to answer your question, I would probably pick Dubai. You know why? Because as I mentioned, we have 5 virtual asset regulators. So if one regulator doesn't play ball with you for whatever reason, for example, they don't like your activity or they don't license your business activity, guess what? There are 4 others to talk to, right? And jurisdictional arbitrage, in my mind, it's a feature, it's not a bug. And why not take opportunity of the arbitrage that is available, right? You pick the country you want to live in because you like good weather or you like sea or you like mountains. Why not have the option to pick a regulator that you can work with? And that's what the UAE offers. In Singapore, there's one regulator, and in Switzerland, there's one regulator. They're fantastic regulators, incredibly experienced in the financial services. But if, for example, there is no option for your business in those jurisdictions, that's it, like you can't proceed. So I would look into UAE, especially because of that jurisdiction arbitrage available.
Yeah, there's something to be said about personalization, right? And I think as technology is really at our fingertips, personalization is on the rise more than ever before, right? And so with Switzerland having its deep banking roots, Singapore a fintech powerhouse, and UAE positioning itself as the bridge between East and West, right? Which of these backgrounds gives, the biggest edge in the long run?
I think you nailed the question right there, right? If you're looking to build a crypto bank, then Switzerland is probably the best jurisdiction for you. If you're looking to build a crypto custodial sort of solution, that is a fantastic place for you. If you're looking for that fintech type of vibe where you can do fast transmissions and you, for example, I don't know, payroll, for example, but crypto, right? Or payment of invoices, but crypto, then Singapore could be something to consider. And the UAE, think about the access to retail. If you're building a game, let's say it's a Web3 game, and you want you need an access to a large population, and that population needs to be young. Don't forget, Middle East is the average age is like under the age of 35, and the population needs to be more computer savvy and have a mobile. Don't forget, our mobile penetration is the largest in the world. Then UAE could be a fantastic place for you because you have access to this Middle Eastern population. Another thing is fantastic if you're looking to bank underbanked or unbanked, right? Like your crypto project or your crypto solution is looking. Let's say it's a wallet, right? In the Middle East, we have something like only 30% of the population is banked, and 70% are either unbanked completely or underbanked. And I'm not talking about the UAE. In the UAE, everybody's 100% banked almost. I'm talking about the wider MENA region, the Middle East, North Africa region. Egypt population, almost 100 million people, right? Very low banking penetration. So if you're looking for B2B sort of 1-2 clients a month, yes, Switzerland is great for you. Singapore is a little bit wider, right? But Middle East, the UAE, that's where you get your millions of users from because of just of these factors that I just mentioned.
Yeah, I love that. And what's the one policy or strategy that one of these countries is doing wrong, that could cost them their lead in the crypto race, you think?
It's very easy to criticize what somebody's doing wrong. When you're sitting in the comfort of your office, and you're the smartest person in your room, right? So, uh, first of all, you need to acknowledge the efforts that the regulators and the governments are going to. You need to acknowledge that every new piece of legislation has to go against, hundreds and hundreds of years of established legal framework, right? And you need to be mindful that the regulators are here. They're not here to serve the crypto industry, right? They have a completely different approach, but you have to also give them thanks for listening to the crypto industry, acknowledging us, and try, at least in the UAE, the regulators are listening and trying their best to see, what can be done to accommodate. But what they're doing wrong, for example, like I mentioned in Singapore, the not willingness, not there's no willingness, but by the regulator to allow retail sort of solution. In Switzerland, there is no ability for foreigners to relocate to the UAE. For example, if you don't have an EU passport, that's it. Like there's no way you can relocate to Switzerland, start a business, hire developers. It's very, very hard. I mean, incredibly hard. And UAE, for example, the regulations are tightening, and there's less wiggling room for people to experiment. We don't really have sandboxes where people can experiment with their products or with their offerings. You basically have to really go straight towards, if you're regulated, if you're offering a regulated business activity, you have to really go straight towards the regulations, which I think can be really hard if you're just starting, if you have fantastic ideas, but you don't have, $300,000 to pursue a license. That might be a little bit heavy. So that's what I would wish for those countries to maybe reconsider and make it easier for entrepreneurs to start their businesses.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think, it's is really about listening and involving the founders and entrepreneurs from the start, right? More in the design rather than the afterthought, you know? Um, yeah, so and if a major global financial crisis hits tomorrow, right? Which of these crypto hubs would benefit the most, and why do you say that?
I think Switzerland will do fantastic because Switzerland as a country rather isolated from let's say European Union. Switzerland is not funding useless wars. Switzerland is not funding illegal immigration. So Switzerland has a very, very Swiss approach to fiscal responsibility, which I like. So I think Switzerland will do well as a country. I'm not sure as a crypto hub, but as a country, they will do well. In my opinion, Singapore is very tightly connected to the economy, right? To the economy outside of Singapore because it's a small country. Singapore, more of a trading hub, a financial hub, right? So I'm making sort of comparison with 2008 global financial collapse, and I was in Singapore at that time, and I just saw this ships, those vessels, those tankers, all the way to the horizon because they did not have oil to transport, they didn't have goods to transport. It was quite a sort of apocalyptic thing to see. So, in my view, Singapore economy is so tightly connected to international trade. So Singapore would be rather impacted, whereas UAE, for example, one of the largest producers of oil, they'll continue producing oil. Yes, of course, things will slow down. There might be a property price collapse for sure. That's what we saw in 2008. But UAE is so resilient. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, one of the things we say always, don't bet against Dubai. Abu Dhabi, they just have their life. They're very chilled, very relaxed. I mean, nothing happens after 3 p.m. because it's a very sort of, very sort of slow way of life and way of business. Whereas Dubai is like 24/7 hustle. So Dubai gets affected more than Abu Dhabi, of course, and you see the impact harder because or it's more obvious, more pronounced. But Dubai recovers so fast and so quickly. And another thing that Dubai also doing very well, Dubai benefits from every bad or unfortunate situation around it. Not from the bad point of view benefits, but for example, when Corona lockdown started, Dubai opened up very quickly. So all the entrepreneurs from all over the world flocked to Dubai because we never shut down. We continued to run businesses. We continued with our crypto conferences. At the midst of the pandemic, where you couldn't visit your dying grandma in Europe, we held an event of 5,000 people. Of course, people were wearing masks and distancing and all of that, but still, Dubai never compromised, never shut down businesses, allowed the businesses to continue and even supported for people to continue trade. And so Dubai recovers very quickly from whatever happens around, around the world. And because of the positive leadership approach to running the business and running the economy, they actually encourage people to come here. For example, when the horrible war in Europe happened 3 years ago, Dubai opened their doors to war refugees and those who are not wanting to participate in this horrible war from every side of every fence, and everybody's welcome here. So I would probably bet more on Switzerland or Dubai or UAE in this regard.
Thank you so much for that. And I really love your comparisons and insights, right? And your analysis because it really is so fascinating. If we were to fast forward to 2030, right? Will any of these three still be on the top? Or, will we be talking about a completely different crypto hub?
There's a change of administration in the US, and President Trump was on stage and he promised that the US will be the Bitcoin, crypto, and AI capital of the world. And yes, we can all talk, negatively about President Trump and his behavior and some other actions, but I actually think he can deliver. I can actually think that 2030 US could be quite a contester for number one crypto hubs out there. Why not, right? With the space race and AI race, and also China. If China opens up to entrepreneurs, international entrepreneurs, whether it's through Hong Kong or whether it's through other sort of free economic zones where entrepreneurs can come and set up their businesses. I think that could be an amazing opportunity. I mean, the population is huge, the technology advancements are absolutely incredible. So I think we will see huge moves from China and the US for sure. And of course, we have Russia with huge energy resources. They are already quite large Bitcoin miners right now. They're looking to set up a Bitcoin reserve for the state itself. So if they open the economy for foreign businesses, once when they stop the useless war and focus on building rather than other focuses, then I think we can really see those three huge countries and huge economies coming up in the world.
Thank you so much for that. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think I'm quite sad. I'm quite sad about what's happening in Europe. European Union, especially Germany, was quite strong in the economy, and they're absolutely nowhere when it comes to competition amongst the crypto hubs, AI hubs. Also, let's look at Eastern Europe. We have Ukraine, we have Poland. Very smart developers, very smart software developers in those countries because of the historical sort of setting where maths and science were very prevailing in schools and universities. So I think there's a huge opportunity for those developers who are located there to build large international businesses. And we see that already. There's a lot of really strong Ukrainian founders in, tier one blockchain projects, and I would love to see more of that. Very, very smart, very persistent nations should lead the innovation in crypto and AI.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And that's the whole point of crypto, Web3, and AI, right? Is to level the playing field. Thank you so much, Irina, for sharing your expertise, and it's been a real pleasure having you here on the show today. And
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it. Until next time, keep exploring, innovating, and staying ahead in crypto.